I need you to take a moment to sit with what I'm about to tell you. We are seeing something that occurs in athletics perhaps once every generation. An unexpected meeting of worlds. The norms of what it means to be an athlete in the current day are being rewritten by the intersection of technology, athletics, commerce, and global impact. And at the heart of it all is Alex Eala, a young Filipino lady who, 3 years ago, most people had never heard of. If necessary, commit that name to memory, write it down, or even get it tattooed on your brain. We are witnessing the early stages of what could turn out to be one of the most remarkable athlete tales of the 21st century, if the rumors that are spreading through the highest levels of sports business and technology investment are even partially accurate. I now understand your thoughts. Another gossip article on a young, talented athlete. One more fluff story about unfulfilled potential. We've already seen this film. The attractive prospect who fades away. The child who is incapable of missing something. However, this is not the same. This is absolutely, structurally, and essentially distinct. Because you have to stop scrolling, put down whatever you are doing, and pay attention when the name Bill Gates begins to occur in the same words as a tennis player from Southeast Asia who is in his 20s. The ramifications of what we are talking about here are very astounding, so allow me to illustrate the situation for you. Bill Gates is a philanthropist whose foundation has transformed global health efforts, education systems, and innovation funding on every continent in the world. He is also a co-founder of Microsoft and the man who contributed to the development of contemporary civilization's digital infrastructure. This man does not engage in sports marketing as a hobby. This is not the kind of person who attends competitions just to shake hands and smile for the cameras because his publicist told him it would improve his reputation. There is a deliberate reason why Bill Gates is interested in something. The smart money begins to go in that direction when his name is mentioned in discussions about up-and-coming world leaders. The topic of discussion at the moment is Alex Eala and what some are referring to as the $100 million suggestion. Give that some thought. Give it some time to simmer in your thoughts. $100 million. Attached to a tennis player who is still developing her career as a professional. Attached to a sportsman from a nation that has never produced a world-renowned tennis player. Attached to a young lady who is expanding the possibilities for Southeast Asian athletes. That isn't exaggeration meant to get clicks. Sensationalism for the sake of opinions is not what that is. That is the opinion of analysts who make a living by researching the relationship between sports, culture, and business. How did we get here, then? How does a teenage Filipina tennis player find herself in conversations with one of the world's wealthiest and most powerful individuals? How does a young person from a nation where tennis is not a popular sport end himself at the center of discussions about global impact and generational wealth? Since the journey is just as important as the destination, we must begin at the beginning. Alex Eala did not appear out of thin air. She didn't appear on the global stage out of nowhere one morning. Through junior events, where she demonstrated she belonged on courts with the world's top young players, she earned her reputation the hard way, match by match, tournament after tournament. When others underestimated her, she stacked successes. When others questioned if a Filipino could compete at the top levels, she accumulated titles. She accomplished this while bearing the burden of representing a nation where tennis has never been a popular sport. Take a time to consider that pressure. Give it some serious thought. Young tennis players have opportunities in nations with well-established tennis cultures. They have systems, coaches, and academies that are intended to identify gifted children and direct them toward vocations in the workforce. France has its own federation initiatives. Spain is known for its clay court customs. There are private academies and a college system in the United States. That infrastructure does not exist in the Philippines. Not to the same extent. Not even near. Thus, Alex Eala wasn't only winning for herself when she began to succeed abroad. She was demonstrating something to a whole country. She was demonstrating to millions of young Filipinos that it was possible for someone who resembled them and came from their community to compete well on the same court as elite tennis players. However, this is the harsh reality that distinguishes the mythical tales from the uplifting ones. If you are unable to go to the professional circuit, junior's accomplishment is completely meaningless. Dreams are destroyed by that shift. It distinguishes those who are truly outstanding from others who are just gifted. Suddenly, you are up against players with years of professional expertise. Error margins become nearly insignificant. The demands on the mind increase dramatically. Her story takes a significant turn at this point, and the plot becomes incredibly intriguing.
The Rafael Nadal Academy is where Alex Eala ended up. I want to be extremely clear about what that implies, since a lot of people talk about academy names without realizing what they imply. This isn't your typical tennis camp where kids spend a few weeks hitting balls and taking pictures for social media. This isn't training under the pretext of vacation. One of the best tennis players in history created this organization. Rafael Nadal did more than simply endorse a structure in order to obtain licensing fees. In order to develop players who can withstand the intense mental and physical demands of professional tennis at the highest level, he established a culture, a philosophy, and a method. Alex Eala created a game that began to draw attention while training in that setting, surrounded by that atmosphere of discipline and constant progress. Right-handed players find it difficult to handle the angles created by her left-handed approach. She can control rallies instead than responding to them because of her court awareness. Her precise and powerful ground strokes put opponents in awkward positions. Most significantly, she exhibits poise under duress that seasoned coaches and observers say is uncommon for someone her age. That calmness is crucial. Professional tennis is more than just hitting winners, therefore I can't emphasize this enough. It takes more than just possessing a deadly serve or a gorgeous forehand. It's about enduring the times when your body is screaming for you to freak out. It involves finishing games when the crowd is against you, when your opponent has gained momentum, when your legs are burning, your lungs are screaming, and your mind is pleading with you to quit up. Like someone who has been competing at this level for 20 years, Alex Eala manages those situations. You can't teach that. You either possess that or you don't. This is when the business discussion comes in. This is the point at which it becomes truly fascinating. Today's professional athletes are more than just rivals. They are brands. They belong to the media. Their social media platforms, walking billboards, cultural ambassadors, and corporate entities all combined into one person. The world's most successful athletes earn more money from partnerships and endorsements than they ever do from winnings. For legacy, the trophies are important. Business transactions are important for the riches of future generations. Almost no one knows this better than LeBron James. This idea served as the foundation for Cristiano Ronaldo's entire empire, because she realized that impact goes well beyond the court, far beyond the final score, and far beyond the rankings. Serena Williams went from being a tennis champion to a global icon. Alex Eala is set up to go in that very direction. And those who make a job studying these topics, analysts, investors, and strategists who dedicate their professional lives to spotting the next great thing, have noticed. I want you to pay close attention to this math, since that is what attracts serious investors. Over 100 million people live in the Philippines. That market is huge. There are a lot of people there that are in need of heroes. However, it goes beyond that. There are Filipino communities in every continent. They can be found everywhere you look, including the Middle East, Europe, Australia, Canada, and the United States. When a Filipino athlete succeeds internationally, they connect with more than simply Manila supporters. They are establishing a connection with a global diaspora that is in dire need of global representation. Players from Europe, North America, and a few well-known tennis nations have historically dominated the sport. There has never been a truly dominant figure in the sport from Southeast Asia. At the top levels of professional tennis, the area has been virtually unnoticeable. The first breakthrough might be Alex Eala. She might be the player who creates a whole new market for tennis participation, goods, and viewing. From a purely commercial standpoint, that potential is astounding. Millions of individuals are an untapped audience that you are discussing. You're discussing sponsorship options with international companies that are in dire need of genuine access to Asian markets. You're discussing media rights in nations that have never had a tennis star to support them. You're discussing a completely new geographic scope for professional tennis. Visionary investors pay notice early because of this. They don't wait for someone to be the world's most popular person and be on the front of every magazine. Everyone will have noticed by then, and there is no longer a chance to enter early. Potential is recognized by astute investors before it becomes apparent. When others are still doubting and asking questions, it makes investments. And that gets us back to the Bill Gates rumors that have garnered a lot of interest. Look, no one is saying that Gates is paying Alex Eala's training fund directly with checks. At this level, it is not how these things operate. However, acknowledgement is the topic of discussion in corporate circles. It is about powerful people who have dedicated their professional lives to finding transforming chances, realizing that sports are now about global influence rather than just athletics. It has to do with cultural reach. It is about creating platforms that encompass every facet of contemporary life and go well beyond stadiums and competitions. The market is alerted when someone like Bill Gates expresses interest in up-and-coming global leaders. This is worth viewing, it says. It claims that there is enough potential here that serious people are taking notice. It claims that the conventional wisdom regarding the origins of tennis players may soon be altered. The $100 million recommendation has nothing to do with actually writing a check. It has to do with the kind of strategic direction and placement that could elevate athletic achievement to a much greater level. It is about realizing that Alex Eala could become more than just a tennis champion if her career keeps going in the same direction. For millions of young athletes who never imagined someone like them could compete at the top level, she might become a brand, a platform, and an inspiration. This potential translates into real economic worth, the kind of value that makes athletes comparable to the world's richest athletes. Does that sound ambitious? Of course. Is it not realistic? Examine the evidence and make your own judgment. Everywhere she plays, her matches attract increasing numbers of spectators and attention. Within minutes of being uploaded, videos of her rallies become viral on social media. Her triumphs are celebrated as national holidays by her admirers in the Philippines. For young Filipino athletes who had no role model in this sport, she has come to represent what is achievable. It's not hype. That isn't spin from marketing. That is recorded reality occurring in front of our eyes in real time. There is a long and dangerous path ahead. Don't misunderstand that. Those who have never played professional tennis are unable to properly comprehend the brutality of the sport. She will sustain injuries that cause her to regress. Her determination will be put to the test by losing streaks. There will be times when the naysayers feel validated and the pressure becomes intolerable. Every athlete has to deal with those difficulties. Whether the foundation is robust enough to withstand them is the question. Alex Eala appears to have that foundation based on all we have observed. She gained discipline and tactical sophistication from her training at the Nadal Academy, which helps her during challenging times. She appears to have psychological maturity above her years based on her ability to remain composed under pressure. A mission against the inevitable setbacks is provided by the expanding network of supporters and analysts who have faith in her abilities. The ceiling is nearly difficult to determine if she keeps growing and avoids the catastrophic injuries and personal setbacks that ruin so many promising careers. We might be witnessing a player who changes the tennis scene worldwide in addition to winning significant titles. A player who creates opportunities for Southeast Asian athletes of the future. A player who demonstrates that tennis is a truly worldwide sport rather than merely a European and American one. And that change would be far more valuable than any competition trophy or cash payout. Therefore, be aware of what people are actually saying when they mention both Bill Gates and Alex Eala. They claim that the potential here is so great that it has drawn the interest of those who dedicate their careers to seeing revolutionary chances before others do. They claim that something never seen before in the history of professional tennis is being produced by the convergence of sports, technology, and global impact. In front of our eyes, we are witnessing the beginning of something very remarkable. Nobody anticipated it would happen so quickly. Nobody anticipated that a young Filipino woman would be at the center of these types of conversations about global influence and billion-dollar values. However, that's precisely what makes this tale so captivating. It goes against expectations. It rewrites stories. It demonstrates how ability, opportunity, and the correct direction can produce seemingly unattainable results in the modern world. Whether Alex Eala turns into the generational tale that everyone is anticipating or if she continues to be an intriguing what-if in tennis history will become clear over the coming years. In any case, you'll want to claim that you spotted it early on before everyone else did. History doesn't announce itself with a press release, so keep an eye on things and pay attention. While people are turning a blind eye, it occurs. Share your thoughts with me. Are we seeing the writing of history? Or is this all hype? This narrative is just getting begun, so please leave a comment below, like, and subscribe. And the upcoming chapter may be the most significant one to date.